Hello there, dear viewer. Today I want to talk about Eureka, one of my favourite Blu-ray labels. In fact, the boutique Blu-ray label that started all of this for me, and I've talked about that on the channel before, so I won't repeat my history with the label, but they release fantastic stuff, and I've been catching up on a lot of their releases from the past few months. I've got a big stack here, and I want to recommend these to you because they are doing some incredible work at the moment. And in recent years, Eureka has started releasing not just in the UK, but also in the United States. So some of these titles will be available in both regions. So hopefully no matter where you are, you can enjoy some of these film recommendations. I'll start off talking about two releases which I literally just received, so I haven't watched them yet. So I'm just going to talk briefly about why I'm excited for these. And looking at these two, it kind of shows the breadth of what Eureka are releasing these days. On the one hand, you have a fantastic box set like Rack and Ruin, the Rubble film at the DEFA. And this part of German film history, the DEFA, or is it DEFA? I don't know how we're saying that, but it's a very fascinating discovery for me and for many other people this year, because these films are now being released on physical media. This box set is just one of many that Eureka have released, and I'm going to be talking about another film in this vein later in the video, so I can't wait to start watching this one tonight. And on the other hand, the other release I just got in, which I've not seen this film, but I can already tell I'm going to like it. It's Flaming Brothers. This is starring Chow Yun-fat and Alan Tang, and apparently the screenplay for this film was written by Wong Kar-wai, so I can't wait to see what this is like. As we know, Eureka have been doing some incredible Hong Kong releases over the past few years, and I have been introduced to so many films that, again, I didn't know existed, but now which I hold in very high regard. So those are two releases which I'm going to be watching very soon, and I'm sure I'll talk about them again in the near future, but let's have a look at some of the ones which I've been watching recently. First, I'm going to talk about one which, when it was announced, was quite a big surprise for me. It's the film from Claire Denis, It's Trouble Every Day. This is a 4K release as part of the Masters of Cinema line, and Claire Denis, definitely a master of cinema. I love so many of her works, and this one is a very challenging watch. I'd never seen this film before, and it's really quite dark, disturbing, horrific in many ways. There are some sequences in this film which it's some of the most uncomfortable viewing I have ever had in my history of watching films. This film really is delving into some of the darkest aspects of humanity and the human mind, and there are themes along the lines of cannibalism in this film, murder, desire, all of this kind of stuff. And I don't want to spoil anything in this film, but I would be surprised if you're not shocked by what is included here. It's a film that I'm reluctant to say that I love just because of how it makes me feel, but it certainly is powerful, and perhaps that's the sign of a great film. The 4K looks excellent, and the only thing I would kind of question, and I don't have much of a history with this film admittedly, is that the colours do sort of look a bit teal, and I know that's a very easy thing to point out with a lot of these modern 4K restorations, but there are some sequences early on in the film where they're on an airplane, and some other scenes where people's shirts that are white and other things in the scene that are meant to look white actually do look teal, like a bluey green kind of tone. And I don't want to just repeat what I say about all of these 4K restorations when I see the teal. It could well be the intended look of the film when the film was released, but I do know that a lot of filmmakers, when they revisit their films from this period and decades prior, they have ideas of bringing films into the present, and basically what they mean by that is changing the colour palette so it fits a more modern style. Again, I'm not saying that's definitely the case and the intention of the people behind this restoration, but it's just something that sticks out to me now whenever I see that kind of colour palette in an image in a 4K restoration. Fantastic special features though, including a new audio commentary, there's an archival one as well, and there is a booklet inside the rigid hard case if you get the 4K edition. It is also available on Blu-ray as well. The next film I want to talk about was one of those discoveries where if I ever find myself in a period where I'm questioning why I do any of this and why I search for new films through physical media, well, this film is a perfect example of why I do that. The film is called Finis Terre, and this is a French silent film from 1929 directed by Jean Epstein. The story follows this small group of men who are on this expedition because they are wanting to farm seaweed, because if they get the seaweed and bring it back home, they can make money from selling it. But let's just say things do not go to plan, and there is quarrelling between these two men, there is some injury that happens, and it very much turns into a story of survival. The film is honestly riveting for the whole duration, and you know what saddens me is that because this is a silent film, so many people will instantly dismiss it. But the film is just brilliant, and the 4K restoration that is shown on this Blu-ray is immaculate. It looks beautiful. It looks like it could have been shot today. So this is what it's all about. A fantastic film that I've just discovered through this Blu-ray. Great special features as well. I just love everything about this, and it warms my heart to get a release like this, and hopefully you are willing to give it a chance as well. Next up, I have another of those DEFA films. This is Heart of Stone, and this is a great fairy tale fantasy story about this young man who fancies this beautiful girl, and he wants to impress her, but he's of very little means. So in order to improve his standing in life, he basically makes a deal with a devil type character so that he can have all of the things that he wants, but only in return for his heart to be turned to stone. It's a beautiful film to watch and a very heartwarming folktale, admittedly with a lot of political stuff in the background, in the subtext and beyond that. But exploring all of that, you have the great special features on here, and accompanying those, there are also these short films which are like silhouette folk tales from the period as well. So all around a fantastic release. If you like this kind of stuff, if you like fantasy storytelling, folk tales, but also the films of the period in Germany, then look no further than this. Now for a great film from Hong Kong, and in case you were doubting where it's from, the film is actually called Hong Kong 1941. This is a war drama starring Cecilia Yip, Alex Mann and Chow Yun-fat, and it tells the story of Hong Kong occupation by the Japanese during World War II. And for me, I feel like I know quite a bit about World War II and global history at the time. I don't know too much about the relationship between Japan and Hong Kong. So it's, first of all, fascinating from a historical perspective to watch a story like this. But it's also deeply affecting, watching these three characters and, the complex relationships between them during this tumultuous time in history. So an excellent film, if you ask me, and some beautiful cinematography here as well. In the special features, you have Asian experts like Tony Raines talking about this film, Frank Zheng. So, you're in good hands with this film and the extras on the disc. Now for three more fantastic films from Hong Kong, from director Lo Wei. It's Martial Law, and these are three wuxia films, brilliantly made. And this is before Hong Kong would start making a lot of martial arts, kung fu style films. They were very much following the wuxia style of these fantastical settings or historical settings with a lot of the great sword play and acrobatics. I suppose your enjoyment with a release like this is going to be based on how much you like the wuxia type of filmmaking. If you like it a lot, then this is one to definitely check out. But, if you're not all that enamored by those types of films, then perhaps not one for you. But, I love this kind of stuff. I would take so many more films just like this if I could get them. So here's hoping to many more in the future. And next I want to talk about a fantastic box set from Eureka, and I want to get the title right because it's quite long. It's Terror in the Fog, the Wallace Crumey at CCC. And now what the hell does all of that mean? Well, the Crumey films were this type of German film, a crime film, which were adapting these stories from Wallace. And these stories were all set in England, either in London or in these rural landscapes, as it says on the back of the box. And as I discovered watching all of the films in here, these were very popular with German audiences. And I knew very little about these going into this set, but they're great films, really entertaining crime thrillers, very much inspired by noir films, but also, predating the American slasher and the Italian giallo. Honestly, there's so much in this set. If that sounds like remotely your kind of thing, I highly recommend getting this. You get 6 films in the box set. One of them is only in standard definition because I guess the materials are not available for the restoration like the others. And of course, all of the great special features, but fantastic stuff from Eureka. Again, just bringing these films to my own knowledge because I had no idea about any of this stuff. And I'm so glad that now I've experienced them. So that was just a quick look at a lot of the Eureka films I've watched in the past few weeks and months. There are some titles I've missed. I haven't yet got the 4Ks of High Noon and Old Dark House, but I really want to see those at some point. And I can't wait to see what Eureka bring next because they're always releasing interesting things, and yeah, it's an exciting time to be a collector of these films. If you want to hear about some of the other labels that I talk about, just click the video that's on screen now to get more reviews and recommendations from me. Until next time, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you soon.